Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Islam has been dominating the headlines in the United Kingdom over the last few months. Of particular debate and interest has been the subject of Muslim women wearing the veil, the hijab or the naqab. And the comments have raised a lot of feeling within viewers, within people living in the United Kingdom over this issue. A few weeks ago, the Archbishop of York commented in a leading newspaper that when it comes to Muslim women, they are a minority and they have no right to impose their beliefs in the rest of society by wearing the veil. With me are some friends who are Muslim women, and I'm going to be discussing these and some other issues with them to see if we can get an understanding of what lies behind some of the issues concerning women wearing the veil. I have with me Mrs. Shamaila Nagi, Mrs. Amina Sai, Mrs. Michelle Rahman, Mrs. Safia Salam, and Mrs. Qudsi Ward. Can I begin by asking all of you, in the media it's been said a lot that there's a lot of Islamophobia around, and I wonder if any of you have had any personal experiences of this or any comments to make on this?
I can't say that I've had any extreme negative experience, but there's definitely an air of apprehension where I'm in a group of people or I'm with people who don't know me or a new situation. I do feel some apprehension coming from them and a sort of feeling that they're a little bit unsure of who I am because I cover my head, and they don't know how to speak to me or how to treat me differently. But this is very easily dispelled by just a big smile and talking to them, and they seem to come out of it rather quickly. But I do notice this apprehension in the air in most new situations.
So there's something about you looking a little different. What about you, Michelle? Have you?
I certainly haven't noticed any apprehension at all, really. I mean, I don't know whether that's much about just the way I am as an individual. I spend most of my time smiling. I don't know whether I'd notice apprehension if it was really staring at me, so it hasn't been my experience.
And Shimon?
Yeah, I think I feel the same. There is a slight apprehension that they are not sure how to approach me. They would like to approach me, but they are not sure about it, how to, and they don't want to make a mistake or do something wrong. But the very moment, just as Sophia said, the very moment you have eye contact with them, a friendly eye contact, or you smile at them, it's all gone in a second, and they are very open and really really next to nothing. I had the experience of really negative approaches. No, I can't say that.
Is that true for you, Amin?
Yes, that's exactly the same, because they don't know us, and when they give them smile or salam or good morning or good evening, they all become very friendly, and they talk and they, say salam and good wishes, and
they seem relieved.
Yes.
I do notice they seem relieved.
Yes,
and they're quite happy to then chat, and they're not intrusive, but they're happy
we are
for you to talk
living
to
in
them.
an atmosphere, haven't we? I mean, it's not so long ago that London was hit by this major terrorist alert, and there were a lot of associations being made by that, or between that and with terrorism and with Islam, and the two were kind of put together. And I mean, I've noticed a little bit sometimes on trains, because I do use the underground quite a bit, that people, as you say, are kind of looking at you and wondering, and then after that, when you appear fairly normal, they're okay about that.
I don't think you get a few other experiences of it, because I think I have had this feeling of apprehension which you've all expressed, but I also think you've got people who will go out of their way to smile at you and speak to you because you're wearing the veil. They want to show that they are not among those who have any anxieties or fears or prejudices. So it works both ways, I think.
I mean, that's something I wanted to ask you all, really, because a lot of the debate has centred around Muslim women wearing the veil, wearing the hijab, wearing the naqab, and I wanted to ask you, you've all come from very different backgrounds, what your own personal experiences about that have been. I mean, Safia, you grew up as an Ahmadi.
I did grow up as an Ahmadi. My mother always wore a full, growing up she wore a full coat and a niqab, and at one point she did cover her face as well. So I grew up with that, but it was very difficult in America because there wasn't anyone else who was doing it, and in fact there weren't many Muslim families around us either. So as a child we did notice that people sort of stared openly. In America, they stare openly. It's very different here in the UK. So we did notice that, but again, my mother was a very friendly person and talked to people very openly and dispelled that.
Can I ask, did your mother wear black?
No, she wore
all
cream.
colours,
She
so it
wore
all-
cream
yes,
mostly.
yeah.
Mostly white, mostly cream. Yeah, occasionally black, but not often. And that's a very good point, actually, because I think there's a difference.
And people
that.
have associated Muslims with wearing black, and of
Yes.
course that's not the colour of, I mean, there's no compulsion to wear black.
That's right.
I mean, what I would say, as somebody who comes from Jamaican parentage, is particularly Jamaican young ladies of my generation, we grew up watching our parents wearing quite bold, bright colours, and we often have chosen black as choice. So, yes, my choice would often be black, but most of my clothes are black. So I think it then becomes a matter of choice.
What about wearing veil itself, though? How have you experienced that? Have you had any comments made about the fact that you wear hijab, naqab or a veil? I mean, have people made any comments directly to you
In the
about
beginning or during?
that? Just now, at
Just
the
now.
moment, as you are.
Oh yeah, they ask you. They are interested. They want to understand it. People are interested in why are you wearing it, and they would like to understand it. Of course, there are some that just say, well, that's just not. I'm not interested in that. But a lot of people are interested, and they ask questions. It gives you permanently the opportunity to tell people about not only about the veil but about our religion as well. And they are very positive about it because they would like to hear positive things about Islam as well, because they are aware that not everything that they are hearing in the media is true and is the real picture of Islam. They are aware of it, and they are quite happy to hear the real story about it and the real facts about Islam.
Has that been your experience as well?
My experience is different. Being Turkish, it is not allowed hijab in Turkey in offices, government offices.
That's right.
When I was working, I was not, unfortunately, I was not wearing hijab. I was not covering my head. But after work, I used to cover on the way to home or from home to work. So it was a little bit duality, but I was supposed to do like that. So after that, they understand, and their reaction was slowly fade away.
But Turkey, I mean, is quite unique in its
Yes.
history and politics. Perhaps you can tell us a little bit more about that, because just a little, I mean, Kemal Ataturk was particularly concerned not
Yes,
to...
Kemal Ataturk was a great man. He was against the Maulvis. So his concern was the black ideas, very rigid ideas.
Yeah.
So that's why he got rid of that kind of people. And now I hope the system is changing, and it is getting much better now.
Right. What about the rest of you? How have you experienced...
I've actually felt that people try to ignore it. They try to pretend that, it just doesn't exist, or I don't know if they're pretending, but it just completely doesn't. I have not had one single person ever ask me why I wear it. They just seem to completely ignore that it's even there. And that, I kind of sort of like that, because it makes me go out of my way to try and bring up the topic and sort of, maybe not the head covering, but Islam in certain ways. So if I'm in a group and we're all talking and they're, just absolutely ignoring the fact that I obviously have a religion or have certain views that might be different, and they're not questioning it, I will often bring up, well, this is what we do in Islam, or this is what I do, or that's why I wear my scarf. If they're discussing some problem or some issue that they have that I don't experience because I'm Muslim or wear the scarf, I will always bring it up, and then they might come in and ask a couple questions, but
Is that a
I
very
do find
British
them.
phenomenon, though?
I think it's very British.
I mean, would you get that in America?
I don't think so. I've been here for some time now, so I think it would be different. I think either you would have outright, why are you wearing that, or why do you have to wear that, you don't have to, or questions. I think it would be different.
And in Germany?
Yeah, I think it is. German and British are a bit similar in that sense. You have those people who are ignoring you completely and say, okay, that's up to you, it's your decision, do what you want. And then there are those people who are interested in it and really would like to know. But I think especially as the situation has changed and Islam has become a focus point now in every news and in every newspaper all the time, people really want to know what is behind it. It makes it much easier. It actually gives us lots of opportunities to really get across the real picture of Islam and the real beautiful picture of Islam and put this ugly picture that is presented sometimes really into a right light.
I guess what you're also saying, thinking of your point particularly, Safia, is that there is a curiosity there. There's a natural reserve about some people actually not wanting to perhaps make you embarrassed because they ask you, why do you wear that, you know? But there's a curiosity and people are wanting to know more and people are wanting to find out. But what we're getting from the media is this sense that somehow Muslim women kind of make us feel really scared, make us kind of separate themselves from us, that we feel uncomfortable. I mean, I've been reading a lot of comments that have been made about, in the media, in articles in response to comments on television, that actually when we see a woman in a veil we feel different. We feel she's different, rather, that we don't feel able to talk to her.
I think that is...
Sorry.
Go on.
And they don't really know enough of the truth about why women wear the veil and what the veil means to them. And they see a woman wearing the veil as being a woman who is repressed and controlled, and they don't really know that most women who wear the veil wear it out of their own choice. And the other thing is that they're just general lack of knowledge. And I think if we have a duty to try and alleviate that, really, we can.
I think so, because I think it affects the young Muslim girls as well. I think the young Muslim girls find it difficult starting to wear a veil because of this outside thinking about Islam and this pressure about Islam, and they don't want people to look at them and think, oh, you know, where are you coming from? And I think it's important to work on this and change all of this and make it easier for our girls who are coming up to the time of starting to wear it.
Well, I want to come back to that point in a little while. You mentioned about your parents being Jamaican. I mean, what about the West Indian community? Do they see you as kind of a little bit
They would
odd,
often link that with oppression, the headscarf with oppression, as you have mentioned. And the duty for me is to explain the reason why. And when the understanding is there, then the myth is dispelled. So, but often the first thinking is about oppression.
It is, yeah. I
They
think
think about it. Yes,
it is about oppression, and my parents are very positive in all respects in my conversion to Islam, but they had their difficulties with the veil, that's for sure, and they still have it slightly, the difficulties with the veil. But they appear to think that women are